What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here again. Finally, this was the longest time, I have to say, that we've gone without streaming in a long time. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Rich, Rocky Mountain Gobblers, Silver, Shadow, and Max Pierce. Sorry if I'm a little tired. I think I said Shadow twice, but I am a little tired today. Didn't get to bed until somewhat late. So, of course, I've got a cup of coffee. Good morning. Hopefully, you all have something to drink that'll keep you awake today. But it looks like it's going to be an exciting day in the market. So I am excited for today. It looks like we're making all-time highs in the S&P 500. We have an interesting CNBC article to look at today talking about tech stocks. And overall, it's looking pretty good. DWAC moving up. NAKD, I have to say, not doing great. And neither is Sundial over the past couple of days. Over the past day or so, Sundial's been kind of falling off. Ever since they hit 69 cents, Sundial's been moving down a little bit. Overall, it could be worse. And good morning, Eric. And Max. I think I said good morning to you also. But here we are for another day. We don't have too many important economic events coming out today. The only thing that we've got is consumer confidence, and that's happening at 10. So we'll have to wait a bit for that. And later this week, all we have is on Wednesday, pending home sales, crude oil inventories, and then Thursday, initial jobless claims, and Friday, that's a day off. That's a day off. So we don't have anything on Friday. That's I think it's a day off for New Year's Day. And you know what? Thank you, Shadow. Thank you for the compliment on the haircut. I got it just last night, so it's pretty recent. Good morning, Manny C. And Max said, use the Webull link and got free stocks. Nice. Yeah, no, I noticed. Yeah, some people use the Webull link. I got some free stocks over Christmas. It was fun opening them up on Christmas, just getting some free stocks. That was nice. Now, of course, I've forgotten to turn on the fan. I'm going to start having a bit of a better schedule for that. I'll be right back. Today was just, it was a late start to the day, so of course I forgot the fan, but I had some laundry to do, so I really just sat down like 10 seconds before turning the stream on, so I really not too much time to myself this morning, but I don't mind. I got some good stuff done. It was super fun going on the vacation over Christmas. That was very fun. I got to see some family, not as much family as I expected, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I'll see them sometime in January. Maybe sometime after New Year's. I've got some New Year's plans. So Max Pierce says, NAKD has big orders for vehicles out, but stock hasn't increased yet, but think it will during official merger. Yeah. So I think something that I've noticed with NAKD, when I posted the video on it, is we had a ton of people commenting on it who had no idea what was going on with NAKD. They didn't know anything about the merger. They were very confused about what the heck happened with their shares, and I think that we're probably seeing a lot of selling pressure because people are, overall, the overall vibe that I got from people is that they're pretty confused about what happened with NAKD. Obviously, there were a lot of people who were just holding it. They wanted to hold a penny stock, and they saw that they lost a bunch of their shares and that the stock increased in price dramatically. They didn't know what was going on. That's what I got from the comments section of that video. I think a lot of people were very confused about it. I think that a lot of people decided, oh, well, I'll hold it for a little bit. And they saw that it started to go down a little. Now we're seeing people sell off because of that. Also, I think they may have made a little bit of a mistake deciding to continue using the NAKD ticker symbol. I don't think that's going to represent Cenntro Automotive the best way they possibly could. I think they probably should have changed the ticker symbol while they were changing the name of the company, but that's just my opinion. So we'll see what happens with NAKD over the next couple of days. I don't have super high expectations for it over the next, for the short term. I think that really when we're going to see NAKD doing well is probably when we start seeing those earnings calls and actually getting real numbers from them, because that's what the company's all about, right? It's not a squeeze play. It's not short-term stock. It's a long-term play based off the fundamentals of Cenntro Automotive. So I think that's what we're going to have to wait for with NAKD. And I'm willing to be patient with it, right? I'm not expecting this thing to shoot to the moon. If anything, I was expecting it to dip a little bit during this whole merger process. I figured people would be somewhat confused. We talked about that in one of the videos discussing it, and it looks like that's the case. My suspicion is once people figure out what this company is all about, once they officially go through changing the name and whatnot, especially if they change the ticker symbol, I think that would help quite a bit. There has been a study done that found that ticker symbols that have that are easy to pronounce, companies that have those ticker symbols, they end up performing better than companies that have strange and odd ticker symbols. So I think a lot of investing is psychology. I think people would probably be more willing to invest in NAKD if they had a better ticker symbol. But we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of months. If they end up changing it, they might. They might just not want to have made too many changes too soon. They know that a lot of people are invested in NAKD because it was a meme stock at one point, and we can pull it up here. It was a meme stock way back in January. This thing pumped up around the same time that AMC and GameStop were pumping up. It got up to, well, now it says $51, but I think it was closer to $3 at the time. And since then, it's not been doing great. It has been kind of fading away. It hasn't gotten down to the lows yet. Now that it's Cenntro Automotive, we'll have to see how it starts performing probably in 2022. It probably won't be doing too great until then. We've only got, 2 more days? We have Wednesday and Thursday after today until this thing is, until this year is over. So we'll see what happens with them. Now, Silver says, nice melt-up Santa rally. That's definitely what we're seeing. Look at this on SPY. All-time highs on SPY yesterday, and it looks like we're going to make new all-time highs today if we just stay where we are until the market opens. So, all in all, you can't really complain. If you're invested in the overall market, you're making money. So, good stuff. I'm happy to see it. And it looks like, guys, we've got 51 viewers in the stream and 13 likes. Let's see, maybe we could get it to 25. Maybe we could get half the people liking the stream. We'll see if we can do that. And Christopher Wong says, Harvest's firm is flying. I have not heard of Harvest's firm. I've not heard of Harvest's firm. Let's see if we can find it. Harvest firm. Harvest Partners. It might be it looks like it's private equity company. So is there a stock? Is there a ticker symbol for it? It looks like PHCG, Pure Harvest Corporate Group. That's the closest I can find. Maybe that's it. But the one thing that I did want to pull up was this interesting story that I saw on CNBC saying the NASDAQ is poised to underperform the S&P 500 for the first time since 2016 as investors shun tech stocks. Now, what can you expect? When you do see these tech stocks falling like we have over the past little bit, they have fallen a little bit. Let's pull up the yearly chart. They've been seeing some volatility. It's surprising to see, though. The QQQ, let's see if they're right about that. 300 to 400, so we're looking at about a 33% increase on the QQQ. And I know that's not directly the NASDAQ, but looks like the S&P overall did do a little bit better. And that doesn't surprise me too much. Part of the reason why we might be seeing that, and I'll pull the article back up. Part of the reason why we might be seeing tech stocks not do as well is because they did incredibly well right out of the gate. We'll pull up a 2-year chart. That should get it. They did incredibly well right after COVID. They shot right up, as did a lot of stocks, right? A lot of stocks, oh, whoops, got to pull back the SPY. A lot of stocks did incredibly well, but tech stocks especially did incredibly well right after COVID hit. They bounced right back up. So did the S&P, but the S&P also fell a bit more. If you look at this chart, you can see on the right-hand side, the S&P, they dropped quite a bit. Tech stocks, not as much. Tech stocks recovered pretty quickly. People knew that tech stocks weren't going to be in too much danger during the lockdown. In fact, they'd probably be doing a lot better. But this is the following year, right? COVID didn't happen in 2021. It happened in 2020. At least that's when the real initial effects started being felt. So, come 2021, tech stocks have already seen a lot of gains. Some of them have slowed down, like Zoom. I think the ticker symbol for Zoom is ZM. And Zoom has not been doing very well in 2021. In fact, it's a red year for Zoom. They did great in 2020, but 2021 for Zoom was not too good. That's probably something that we've seen with a lot of these hyped up tech stocks that got hyped up because of the pandemic, because a lot more people were using technology. Now people are able to go back out a little bit more. That's probably why we're seeing in 2020, although tech stocks are up, you can see they're up. They're not up as much as the S&P, just barely. It looks like the S&P beat them out. But people are able to go out more. They're able to do more stuff in person. It makes sense that the S&P is going to beat tech stocks a little bit. So if you were invested in the overall market instead of just tech in 2021, then the market actually beat tech stocks, which doesn't typically happen. Typically, tech stocks beat the market just because they have better forms of leverage. They don't need things. They don't need brick and mortar shops. But But we'll see if that happens in 2022. I think we might get back to the pattern that we've seen of tech stocks outperforming in 2022. Now that the overall market has had a year to catch up, now that they have caught up, I think we might see tech stocks going back, taking the lead. We'll see, though. It's definitely not a guarantee. We might see the overall market still leading tech stocks, but we'll have to wait and see. There's no telling what will happen for sure. Obviously, if we see some things like legalization for cannabis, then maybe Sundial and a lot of other cannabis companies will be running in 2022. They might bring up the overall market, depending on how much value gets created. It could be really good for the overall market, especially if they start getting added to indexes like the S&P. We'll see. Obviously, a lot would have to change between now and the end of 2022 for that to happen, but it would not surprise me to see them eventually getting added to indexes. It would make a lot of sense if you want to track the overall market. If these stocks start doing well after legalization, then you definitely want to have some of them in there. So we've got a lot more people popping in. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Christopher Wong, Roland B, Investing in Business Channel. I'll look at that question about PROG in a second. TY, Vivi, good morning, everybody. Maria, good morning. And Merry Christmas. Hopefully you all had a really good Christmas. I know I did. It was super fun. I have to say, though, I did not enjoy being away from the stream. I would have liked to do the stream, but I was out of town. So there were a couple of market days that were open, a couple of days that the market was open that we ended up missing the stream. It had to be done, though. So I do appreciate, though. You know, I never used to appreciate in the past. I'll say this. I never used to appreciate in the past days that the market would be closed. And I'll pull up a calendar real quick just to show you the days that the market would be closed. Let's pull it up over here. Let's pull it up right there. Market calendar. So I never used to appreciate the days that the market would be closed until we started doing this stream. So you can see the markets are closed on just a couple of days throughout the year, some of them being around Christmas. And this doesn't even have a 2021 chart right here. This is just for 2022. They already got rid of 2021, even though we have a day left. I think it's this Friday that's a market day off. We don't have any trading on this Friday, I believe, because of New Year's. But they've already gotten rid of that. They've already moved on to the 2022 calendar. But I never used to appreciate having these days off until I started doing the stream. Because now, I feel somewhat obligated to do the stream, and I do enjoy it a lot. But it's tough if I'm going on a vacation, if I want to see some family. Weekends are really good for that. But even weekends, I used to wish that the markets were open during. I used to wish that there was trading going on during the weekends. Crypto's good for that. Crypto still trades during the weekend, but stocks stopped trading, and I never used to understand why they wouldn't just open it. But now I can imagine that there are probably some pretty big Wall Street bankers who need to be on top of it. They need to be on their A game whenever the markets are open. And they want a life too, right? They don't want to just be sitting at their computer 24/7. I mean, it's a good thing the markets open at 9 and close at 4. Because a lot of the Wall Street guys probably need to be at their desks whenever the market's open. So it is understandable. They have these holidays off. So that's I can appreciate that now. Though I will say, before I started doing the stream, I used to wish the markets were open all the time just because I didn't have anything tying me to the markets. If I needed to take some time off during any day, I could. And we've got some more people. Good morning, NJ. Good morning, Tim Boone. I definitely had a wonderful holiday. Hope you did too. Seeing Blind, Rob wants you to invest in SOI. He's grifting Sundial investors. More like, no. No. But let's take a peek at SOI. I haven't heard of SOI. Looks like it's not. Looks like it's nothing. There's no ticker symbol SOI. So we'll pull back up DWAC, which has been doing pretty good over the past couple of days. It looks like we got a nice bounce off of 50. We're moving up towards 55. I'm happy to see it. Good morning, Squirrely B. And you know what? I do want to pull up. Actually, I would like to pull up just my quick position on DWAC to see what's going on with it, because I sold some options on it. So let's see what's going on with those options. It looks like I've made a little bit of money on those options. So I still have those 2 put contracts sold. Let's switch over to the main cam. Let me turn on Do Not Disturb just so we don't get any notifications. But I still have those 2 put contracts sold right there on DWAC. And now we're finally up on money. We're up $140, up 2% on that position. So we've still got $6,700 to make in 2022, as long as DWAC doesn't go below $50. So happy to see that, but it's good to see that DWAC is already moving in the right direction. We're already up on that position. So I'm good. I'm glad to see it. And Sub-Zero says, remember to buy more AMC. Absolutely. Absolutely, we're buying more AMC today. Let's see, where is AMC at the moment? Let's take a peek at it. Let's look at that. So good. Okay. So we have been sticking below $30, so we'll get some cheaper buying in. I really want to see it go down below 25. Look at that. If I'd been paying attention, was I here? No, I think this was Thursday, I think. So I wasn't here on Thursday. I was taking a day off, but of course it got pretty darn cheap on Thursday, down to 26.82. So maybe that would have been a good place to buy, but yeah, we'll definitely be buying some more AMC. Hopefully it takes a little bit of a dip and we can get it below 25 today. I'd really like to grab it below 25. I mean, if I saw it go down below 25, I'd probably just buy whatever the difference was, make it up to 100 shares, but we'll see. So Mr. Style asks, why is NAKD down? So we were talking about this earlier. I think that a lot of people, based off the comments I got on my first video, or rather the video that I released discussing the NAKD merger, a lot of people were pretty confused about what was going on with NAKD. People were asking what happened to their shares. They were asking why did the price change. A lot of people apparently just had not heard of Cenntro Automotive at all. They didn't know this merger was going through. They were very confused to see that their share counts decreased and that the price of the stock increased. So I think what we're seeing is a lot of people looked at their portfolios for the first time on this day when the merger went through. A lot of people obviously sold. There was some volatility. And over the coming days, some people decided to hold on and see what would happen with the stock. But when it started dipping a little bit, I think that we're seeing a continuation of that because more and more people are looking at this new stock in their portfolio. Granted, it trades under the same ticker symbol as a stock they held previously, but it is a different stock, a different company. And they don't know what the heck is going on with it. It's a different price. They have fewer shares. They're not happy with it. It's dipping. They want to sell. And I think we're seeing just basically a self-fulfilling prophecy because a lot of people are probably very confused about it selling. At least that's the vibe that I got in the video that I released. In the comment section, a lot of people seem to be very confused about it. And those are the people who bothered looking up NAKD stock on YouTube and finding the video, right? A lot of people are probably less well-versed. They might not even know that you can go to YouTube and look up stocks and get an explanation for what's going on. So a lot of people are probably just sitting there with their Robinhood in their hand and not understanding what the heck is going on with this stock and just selling it after a couple of days. You know, they look at it a couple of days later after the merger and they don't know what's going on. They decide to sell because they see a stock going down and they don't know what's happened to it. It's too confusing for them. So that's probably what we're seeing. We're probably seeing a bit of selling pressure. I think we're probably going to get NAKD a little oversold at some point. Maybe in the $4 range would be a good place to pick up some more shares. I might consider that because I think we'll probably be doing pretty good in 2022. I think that a lot of the gains that we're going to see are going to come around the earnings calls when we start to get numbers released for Cenntro Automotive. I think that's what we're going to have to wait for if we want to see big gains with NAKD. Once we start getting the numbers, because their projections are pretty good, they're expecting massive revenue growth over the next couple of years. So I think that once we start seeing that, if we start seeing it, that's when we're going to see some good gains with NAKD. Of course, it's possible they'll miss those projections. They might miss the revenue growth that they were expecting, and then we probably wouldn't see massive gains with NAKD or Cenntro Automotive. But we'll see what happens with it. So that's just what I'm expecting. As long as they keep hitting, if they hit their targets, I would see us probably going quite a bit higher. I'm not sure exactly what price we'll get to. It depends on how much they potentially beat their targets by, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that's going to be more of a long-term play, NAKD. So, let's see. Roland B. Morton, what is your thoughts and views about BVXV? Sure, I'll look at BVXV real quick. BVXV. Let's see. So, okay, Biovax Pharmaceuticals. So it looks like they pumped up a little bit ago. I think we covered this potentially when they pumped up in the past, when they moved up from $1.50 to $3. I think we were looking at them. Now it looks like they're pumping again, and on what news? So let's see. They announced the former GSK Global Vaccine CFO joins the Biovax Board of Directors. So they got a new CEO. Let's see if there's anything else. So they've got a new CFO joining their board of directors. I don't know if that's a call to skyrocket the stock. It looks like they were trading around 250, close to 250, and they hit $5. So they just about 2x'd on that news at their height. Now they're trading more in the $3 range. So It's interesting news. I guess they've got a new CFO. Apparently, it's a very good CFO if they moved up this much on that news. But, I tend to stay away from the pharmaceutical stocks because I don't understand enough about medicine to say which ones are going to have successful trials or get FDA approval. I tend to stay away from the pharmaceutical stocks for that reason because I just don't understand enough about the underlying business, right? I don't know how their trials work. I don't know if the FDA is going to approve it. It seems somewhat random to me. When we're waiting for FDA approval, it seems somewhat random whether or not the FDA is going to say yes or no. So I tend to stay away from them because I view them a little bit like gambling. Potentially, there are some ways that you could make some money off of them. Potentially, if you're selling some options, maybe you could find a strategy that works for you if you want to sell options when the implied volatility is very high because they're awaiting a big decision. But there's always the chance that they could jump, they could skyrocket, they could plummet, and it would be a tough one. So I tend to stay away from those pharmaceutical ones. But that's just what I'm thinking. It looks like they're just moving up on the CFO news. So it is interesting, right? They have been pumping recently. They could continue to pump, right? If this good news continues, but sometimes I will say these pharmaceutical plays get a little bit overbought on these kinds of news, on this kind of news at least, right? I don't know what caused this initial pump, but probably something about this vaccine that they're talking about. Looks like, when was this? This was the 22nd. So let's see. They signed a definitive agreement for the development and commercialization of nano-sized COVID-19 antibody therapy. Okay, so, I mean, obviously that is going to help them, especially with Omicron. So it is a fundamental change. The CFO coming in, I guess that's a fundamental change too, but I don't know how much of an impact, if it's going to really double the value of the company. Well, obviously we've fallen a bit since we doubled to $5, but we'll see what happens with VXV. I'm going to stay out of it, though. I'm going to stay out of it. AMC, it looks like, is taking a little bit of a dip before the pre-market, or during the pre-market. It looks like we're taking a little bit of a dip, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to get that AMC a little bit cheaper. NAKD is also seeing a little bit of a dip in the pre-market, it looks like, which I suppose not a bad thing, right? I'd be happy to grab some up under $4, especially if they would change this ticker symbol. I would really like to see the ticker symbol change. That would be very nice if they changed NAKD to something else, something more aligned with Cenntro Automotive. I think that would definitely help a lot of people who aren't understanding this company. Now I think when we start having earnings calls and impressive events surrounding Cenntro Automotive, when they start meeting their expectations or beating their expectations, if they can, then I think something that's going to potentially turn off new investors is the fact that they're keeping the NAKD ticker symbol. And that's something that I'm worried about. I think, we've seen in the past that companies who have recognizable ticker symbols tend to do better than companies that don't. And I talked about that in the beginning of the stream. But that's something that does worry me a little bit about NAKD. It made a lot of sense when they were Naked Brand Group, right? Now NAKD doesn't make too much sense to have as a ticker symbol, considering the fact that there's Cenntro Automotive Group. I think they're just Cenntro Group. So we'll see. We'll see. My hope is that they will change it at some point, but you never know. You never know what they're going to do. They did want to probably keep NAKD for a little bit, just to keep some of the old investors in the loop, right? So, if they change the ticker symbol the same day that they changed the price for the stock, then a lot of people would have been extremely confused, right? They wouldn't even have known that whatever new ticker symbol they had sitting in their account was NAKD. They would have all of a sudden had just lost all of their NAKD shares, it would seem, and have had a new company in their portfolio. They would have been very confused by that. So Silver says the pre-markets are awfully quiet. Yeah, they're somewhat quiet, it looks like, although it looks like the S&P took a little bit of a dip. It looks like Sundial is very quiet. I mean, we're pretty darn stagnant with Sundial. Ever since, when was it? It was around 5 in the morning. Sundial took a little bit of a dip, and then it's pretty much just been sitting at 63 cents. So overall, Sundial did dip in the pre-market, but we'll see what we can get Sundial moving up on. Potentially, Sundial can come back today, right? Sundial obviously has been doing very well over the past little bit. They were down towards 53 cents just, what is this? Over the past 30 days, they've been doing decently, right? They're on the upper bound of the 30-day period, right? So they were bouncing off of 53 cents a couple of times. They finally bounced up to 69 cents, and then they retraced back a little bit. Now they're at 63. We'll see if we can get them to continue. Obviously, nothing can just move up in a straight line forever. So we'll see if we can get them continuing this move up. it's not great to see that they have been moving down over the past couple of days, but it's understandable. So we'll see if we can get them bouncing off of 63. Hopefully they can. 53 was their support last time. Maybe 63 will act as their support this time. We'll see what happens with Sundial. I'm happy to keep holding them well into 2022 once we start getting more catalysts surrounding legalization. And let's see if there's any news. Okay, we've got a little bit. So New Hampshire lawmakers file multiple marijuana legalization bills ahead of the 2022 session. Indiana GOP lawmakers to file marijuana legalization bills. Democrats set up to push reform. So let's pull this up. Let's see if we can't pull it up on the big screen. Let's get it over here. So let's see. Indiana. Okay, so this should be it. Indiana GOP lawmakers to file marijuana legalization bill as Democrats step up reform push. Interesting. So Republican Indiana lawmakers who serves as the House leadership announces she'll be introducing a bill to legalize marijuana. So once again, we're seeing Republicans introduce these bills. So that's a really good sign, in my opinion, because in the past, Democrats have always been the ones pushing it. And now that we're seeing Republicans push it, it finally seems like the two parties can agree on something. And maybe they can get it done as long as they don't let other issues get in the way, as long as neither of them try to use it as some form of leverage. If all of a sudden the Democrats say, oh, well, we can legalize it as long as we can introduce some other kind of spending bill, right? As long as they just take the win and legalize it, I think we'll probably see federal legalization in 2022. I mean, the states are certainly all falling in line like dominoes. So it would only make sense for the federal government to legalize it as well, especially since we've got a legalization bill in Congress. So this is Rep. Cindy Zemek. I don't know how to say that necessarily, but Zemek, we'll call her Cindy Zemek, who has worked to raise awareness about substance misuse since her son's struggle with addiction. Interesting. And this measure would legalize cannabis for adults 21 and older. I guess that's all we can expect in the United States. It's not going to be 18 like it is in some other countries, probably, no matter what we get. But let's see. All right. So it looks like potentially Indiana will be legalizing because GOP lawmakers are behind this one. That's always a good sign, right? If GOP lawmakers are behind it and it's legalization related, that's a good sign because Democrats are probably on board also. So all in all, looking pretty good for legalization. On the legalization front, we're seeing it in, where was that? Indiana, and we are also now seeing New Hampshire lawmakers. So that just happened a little bit ago. Let's see if we can pull up the New Hampshire news. Okay, this just, no, that's old news. Where is this? Maybe we can move it to the past 24 hours that we get this. Okay. Huh. Interesting. So 20 hours ago, this article came out. I don't know why this came out or why this showed up when I was searching for New Hampshire, but Cannabis company says Afghanistan plans hinge on international recognition of Taliban regime. So potentially, okay, a German cannabis company says it's still in talks with the Taliban regime of Afghanistan about setting up a cannabis production operation in the country, but some international issues need to be resolved first. So, wow, it looks like a cannabis company is trying to work with the Taliban to produce cannabis in Afghanistan. So that's not something you hear every day. Look at that. Commercial cannabis production in its borders, given its historically harsh treatment of people who use illicit drugs. Okay, so that's interesting. It looks like potentially the Taliban will be authorizing the use or the production of cannabis in Afghanistan. And it looks like the Taliban, at least what I would glean from this article, the Taliban are in control of Afghanistan, it seems. So, all right, we've got the opening bell. We almost missed the opening bell, or we kind of did. We missed it about 30 seconds ago, but it looks like not too much has happened. We've seen little microscopic dips on pretty much everything except AMC. It looks like AMC is up. So let's grab those 10 shares of AMC, and then potentially if it gets below 25, we could be grabbing a lot more than 10. Let's find the AMC right here and pull up the cam so we can see the order go through. Let's just do a regular. We won't bother with limit orders if it's just 10 shares. All right. So here we go. We've got 10 more shares of AMC going through. There we go. And of course, it's rising while I do this. But we got it for what? 28.60. So not bad. Now it's 28.50. So that's why you use limits. But overall, could have been worse. Could have been worse. We'll see what AMC does. I'm honestly expecting to take a little bit of a loss on this AMC in the short term. I'm hoping at least that I will, because I'd rather just buy it cheaper. If it's going to be a long-term hold, I'd rather just buy it cheaper. So Vivi asks, and BB says, Rob, I wish I was country fed. Get it, fed. Wow. 450K, wow. Please be my friend, bro. I only got 100. Are you talking about AMC? I'm not sure what country fed is. Anyways, Vivi's asking, can we look at PHUN? We will take a peek. So, PHUN, let's see what we've got over the past little bit. I haven't looked at PHUN for the past bit, but it looks like, and we'll pull up DWAC on the top left chart over here, and we'll overlay it. There we go. So it looks like it's been following a fairly similar pattern to DWAC. Though, obviously, we've talked about this in the past, PHUN tends to be a little bit more bearish than DWAC. So PHUN was following DWAC up for the past while. Then it looks like the past 2 days, DWAC has stagnated a bit. Instead of moving up, it's been stagnant. And PHUN has taken that opportunity to dip a little bit. So that is unfortunate. You know, PHUN, I'm a little bit more wary of. There are a couple of things with PHUN. One, it's a little bit more risky because we tend to see a more bearish pattern, but it's also less risky in the sense that it's not completely relying on the Trump pump, right? It's not completely relying. If True Social gets canceled or something weird happens with it, or it still has other things going for it, right? PHUN has PHUN. They have some Bitcoin holdings, so they are in the crypto space a bit. And if crypto starts to do really well, especially if their coin, if PHUN really starts to do well, and people start using that as a means to transact for people's data like they want, then PHUN could be doing really well. They could definitely outperform DWAC because they're a much smaller market cap, and there is a lot of potential in PHUN for PHUN to surge. I mean, a lot of those smaller cryptos have surged in the past, and if people really take a liking to PHUN, then it could definitely be doing very well. We could definitely see a big pump on PHUN if that happens. It's not a guarantee that it will, but it might. And so it's not completely relying on the Trump pump on True Social like DWAC is, but it tends to be a little bit more bearish than DWAC. So it's a little bit riskier in that sense. If you're in it for the Trump pump, then it's a little bit riskier because I don't believe we've gotten confirmation that they're working with TMTG, Trump Media and Technology Group. So we don't know for sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with PHUN. You know, it is an interesting one. If they can really get PHUN working, that would be really great for them. So we'll pull DWAC back up here and get the SPY going in the top again. I'm curious what's going to happen with the market. Now, once again, at 10, we have consumer confidence coming out. So that will be something that we're going to keep an eye on. Looks like DWAC is pretty stagnant over these past couple of bars, but let's see. We did want to pull up. Okay, we've already got that taken care of. And this was just an interesting story. The Cannabis company saying that their Afghanistan plans hinge on international recognition of the Taliban. So who knows if we're going to start recognizing the Taliban as an international player. I mean, I know that we've made deals with them in the past because they are somewhat powerful, at least in the area, in Afghanistan. But who knows if we're really going to start recognizing them as a legitimate business entity. That'll be interesting to see if we do. But it looks like some companies, I mean, it looks like if you want to do business in Afghanistan, according to this article would have me believe that you have to be in good with the Taliban, and that makes sense, right? If the Taliban are out there and they don't really have any limits on what they're willing to do, if they're just willing to blow up whatever business is out there that doesn't comply with their standards, then, it could be difficult to do business in Afghanistan. Now, why you would want to grow cannabis in Afghanistan, I don't know, right? I would assume that you could probably find a place to grow it. If you're a German company, I'd assume you could probably find a place to grow it in Germany or anywhere else other than Afghanistan where the Taliban isn't operating. And you could grow it there, and probably it's going to be closer to Germany than Afghanistan, right? Because then you don't have to ship it as far. So I don't really know why they want to grow it in Afghanistan. Potentially the climate's really good for it. Potentially I know there's something like Afghan Kush or something like that. So who knows? Who knows why they're trying to grow in Afghanistan? But it is interesting to see that they're starting to recognize the Taliban as potentially a more legitimate business entity. So that's something we've got. That's 20 hours ago that this story came out. So it's interesting at the very least to see that. But we will pull up crypto, even though Afghani is the best strain, so I've heard, says Zach Taylor. Quite possible. Quite possible. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're just doing it for the strain. But we will pull up crypto. Oh, that's right. And PROG. Any PROG thoughts? Is it dead? What's your opinion? Says Joseph. And someone else is asking about PROG. So I haven't taken a peek at PROG in a bit. But let's see. It's down to $2. So that's not great. And I never think a stock is completely dead. Right? There's always the potential, especially when it's a stock like this that people were pumping up for a short squeeze. Let me pull up the PROG short data. PROG on Ortex. We can pull that up right here. Let's see. So the shorts in PROG. There's always the chance that people will come back to it and have a renewed interest, but we'll pull it up. So on Ortex, we see increasing short interest today of 2%. 17% of the free float is short. 17.85 million shares. So what happened with PROG is people lost interest in it, right? It pumped up, and it's been following this pattern. It had been, at least, if you look over the past 90 days, of pumping up, then falling down, making a higher low in the past. Every time it would pump up, it would make a higher low. We finally broke that pattern. This most recent time, we ended up moving down and continuing that move down, right? Even recently, we've been making new lows around $2. And unfortunately, it seems like people just couldn't continue the pattern because the market cap got a little too big for retail to handle, at least the amount of retail investors that we had in it. Eventually, it got to a certain point. It couldn't make higher highs. We didn't end up breaking the highs that we saw previously, right? Of $6.46, we got pretty close. And people took that as an indication that we weren't going to be making higher highs anytime soon. People started selling off their positions. When we didn't then pump up, there was a time when we were moving up a little bit. When we got below $3, we ended up pumping up to just above $3. People had probably hoped that this was going to be the next pump up. It looks like that didn't happen, and people continued selling off. Now we're down around 2. So there's always the possibility with a stock like this that it could come back. So you never want to write it off completely, but it's typically not the best to just hold over the long term. If interest resurfaces on PROG, then you might want to get back in. Obviously, there's always the potential of getting faked out, right? Like what we saw over here right after it had initially started crashing when we were moving back up to $3. Some people might have been getting in around 3, and then it ended up moving down further. So there's always the potential you get ripped off if you think there's a resurgence and there's not. But if there's a real resurgence, it happens with these stocks sometimes. Over the long term, maybe you could see it. When we have moved up in the past, and it wasn't the likes of a short squeeze like what we were hoping for with PROG over here, but we did make it up from 66 cents to 646, I think, was the high on PROG. So almost a 10x on PROG if you bought it at the bottom. So it did go up pretty big for people who were in it for the long haul. But I would not be holding it right now, right? I don't know. I that's just my opinion, not financial advice. But right now, I wouldn't be holding it. I would probably wait to get back in on it at some point if we start seeing another surge up. And obviously, you got to be careful with it because there's always the chance to get ripped off. You have to gauge consumer sentiment a little bit. You have to look potentially at stock twits, see if it's really ranking up there or if it's just a little pop in PROG price. You have to see if it's really ranking on Reddit. And, that's how you do it right here. Trending stocks on Reddit the past 24 hours. If PROG really starts getting up towards the top again, that's how you might have an indication that it's going to be one that is running for a bit. Also on stock twits, if you look at the rankings, you can see the trending and most active. Trending isn't as big of an indicator, right? Because this is just things that are increasing in volume very rapidly. But most active, if it gets up there, then it has a shot at doing a real run-up. But it might not happen anytime soon, right? Because it's still pretty fresh. The wound is still pretty fresh for a lot of people. Obviously, with a stock like this, you're always going to see a dip at some point because it wasn't a fundamental play. For most people, it wasn't a fundamental play. So you're always going to see a dip at some point, and a lot of people probably have some hard feelings about it. So people are a little bit more hesitant to get into a stock right after it's pumped and crashed because they feel a little burnt. So you might have to wait a little bit with PROG, right? You probably want to just keep an eye on Reddit and stock twits and see what the next short squeeze play might be. We haven't really seen that many lately, I have to say. There have not been many short squeeze plays, but they're always fun to get in on. And it's just if you have money to play with, to gamble with, essentially, right? You're never betting the farm on on a short squeeze play, hopefully. Although it looks like PROG is doing pretty good. They're up 6% right now. I mean, maybe they'll continue this. If this continues, I don't expect it will, but we'll see. I mean, they are up 6%. Granted, it doesn't make up the gain or the losses that they saw yesterday. So if they get up to around 622, then they would have masked the losses from yesterday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And Sundial, yeah, Sundial is up. Corn-fed country. Yeah, Sundial is up. So corn-fed country in the comments is right about that. Sundial is moving. We're up above 63 cents, which we basically just used as support. Hopefully we'll continue this move up. It looks like we're seeing decent volume for Sundial, and we definitely got stopped out at 63 cents when we were moving down, so we could certainly be continuing the uptrend with Sundial. It looks like we may be ending this downtrend. Not a guarantee, because we have seen some big green bars in the past on Sundial, but that was fairly early on, right? That was the first real day of the dip, actually, because the day prior, although we started dipping, we started the day, we opened lower than where we closed. We opened lower than where we closed this first day of the dip, technically. But for, what was this, Monday? Yeah, yesterday. So sorry, I wasn't at my computer yesterday for the stream, but yesterday we did see Sundial dip a little bit. And potentially today we could see a continuation of this overall uptrend that we've been in for the past week or so. I would be hopeful for that, right? I'm hoping that that's what we're seeing. I'd rather not go back to a downtrend on Sundial. I think 53 cents was way too low for Sundial. Honestly, I think we're way too low now. So we'll see what we can get coming in 2022. I think that, the more of these legalization bills that we see, and we've already covered a couple of them. We've already got, New Hampshire and Indiana. We've got legalization bills in both of those places just recently, over the past, 2 or 3 days, I think that news came out. I think federal legalization is inevitable. I think we're probably going to see that real soon, at the very least, sometime in the next year is my expectation. Obviously, there's always room for corruption. You never know if the pharmaceutical companies are going to pay who knows who not to legalize it and to boycott it in the Senate or the House, or maybe even veto it at the president's desk. Who knows what they're willing to pay for. But I think that as long as there's no kind of corruption, I mean, it seems like when you run the polls, people are in favor of it. We've got midterms coming up this year, and it makes sense that all the politicians would want the people on their side. That's definitely a big rallying point, not just for Democrats, but now Republicans are pushing legalization. Democrats might be losing a lot of voters if they don't go along with it. If Republicans try to legalize cannabis in 2022 before the midterms and Democrats say no, then I think that would really open up some people's eyes. Did I watch the Elon interview? Hold on one second. So I think that would really open up people's eyes if they saw Democrats saying no to legalization. Then a lot of people would be very upset, because Democrats have been trying to push it supposedly for a very long time. And if they don't go along with it now that there's an option to, I think a lot of people would be very mad. And, I don't think they'd do that. I don't think they would alienate their base that much. So I think we're probably going to see legalization. That's what I'm trying to get at here. In 2022, we've got the midterms. I think that's a great catalyst for us to finally see a vote on this thing. And Zach Taylor asks, did I watch the Elon interview on Babylon B? I did not, actually. Though I would like to. That sounds very interesting. I know we talked about that in the past. So let me actually see. Obviously, I don't think we can play it. But I will pull it up. It looks like, yep, there we go. Okay, so we can't play that, but there is a YouTube video 6 days ago. So Elon Musk sat down with Babylon B CEO Seth Dillon and the creative director, okay, and the EIC, Kyle Mann. I don't know what the EIC stands for, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to give that a peek. Thanks for the reminder, Zach. I forgot about that. So let's see. David Amer, that's not how it's going to go. Republicans are the ones who are anti-cannabis. Absolutely. In the past, we've definitely seen the Republicans being anti-cannabis. Now we're finally seeing Republicans step forward with their own legalization bills. So I think that, if they try to turn the tables on Democrats, if Republicans are that crafty right before the midterms, we might see legalization coming in the first half of 2022. We could see it because the midterms, I think, are November. So we could see legalization before then if the Republicans are crafty enough and are smart enough to push legalization before then. I mean, they could certainly get a lot of people on their side if they're the ones that end up pushing it, right? Democrats might go along with it. But if Republicans are the ones pushing it and introducing the bills, then it would be very interesting to see how the voters respond to it. So we'll see what happens with legalization. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for 2022. Good morning, Brazil AA. And earned income tax credit. Yeah, see, here's what I wonder about. That makes sense. EIC could definitely stand for earned income tax credit, but it seems to be a role at a company because it's saying that Elon Musk will be sitting down at an interview with the Babylon Bee CEO, Seth Dillon, and the EIC, Kyle Mann. So, I'm not sure what they're referring to, the EIC. Let's see what EIC could stand for. Yeah, it is earned income credit. Okay. It might mean employee independent contractor. So it might be, an important person for the Babylon Bees business, but who knows? Who knows? It's not too big of a term because when I looked it up, I saw earned income credit too. So who knows? But BB says when we were talking about Sundial 450K, so he said he brought that many. Interesting. Who said that? You were talking about a YouTuber or influencer, I believe. Country Fed maybe. Yeah. And what's up, Abstract? Welcome. We almost talked about crypto without you, but here we go. I have wanted to discuss crypto. Looks like cryptos are suffering a little bit. We were seeing a bounce on cryptos. We'll pull it up right here. But Bitcoin, we saw a little bit of a bounce, and we got above 50,000 for a little bit, right? We were sitting below 50,000. We were in the $46,000 range the past couple of streams, maybe 48,000, but 46 at the lows. Now we're back down to 48, but over the past, what is it, the 26th and 27th, we were tapping just barely above 50,000. I think at the highs we got to 51,818. So recently we've been doing decently. But over the past maybe 20 something hours, we've been falling. So now we're down. If you look at the past couple of hours, over the past 24 hours, we're down 5% on Bitcoin, 4.7% on Ethereum, 1.25% on Binance Coin, 7% on Solana. We're down all of these amounts. Pretty much all the cryptos are down actually, except the stable coins. So Cardano's down about 5%, down 5% on Ripple, 8% on Terra Luna, 10% on Polkadot, 5% on Avalanche, 6% on Dogecoin, 5% on Shiba Inu. Everything is down in the crypto world over the past 24 hours, unfortunately. It looks like, seriously, the only ones that are green at all are the stable coins. So it really is crazy, although there is one, IOTA, IOTA is up 5%. So that's the only one that is up. And it looks like it's continuing to rally. It was up over the past 7 days about 26%. So it's continuing its rally, but it's strange to see that cryptos really do all follow the same pattern. Strange stuff. I mean, on a red day for crypto, it's every crypto that's red. There's very rarely a crypto or two that stand out from the herd. I mean, you see a couple of them, but overall, other than the stable coins, there's maybe 5 cryptos that are green in the top 100, other than the stable coins, right? Because the stable coins. So other than stablecoins, so the stablecoins really they just stick around $1 and they're up, a fraction of a percentage every day, maybe, or down a fraction of a percentage. It really doesn't matter that much. I don't even know how the price changes if they're supposedly stable. But Abstract says Rob got some bars recently. We've been doing decently. Oh, I guess so. I didn't even know. I didn't notice that, but yeah, there we go. So yeah, maybe I'll start rapping at some point. Probably not, but maybe. I think that's more Abstract's domain. So overall, cryptos are doing pretty poorly. They're not up. They're definitely, for the most part, they're down, and they're down in not the least significant way, right? Down about 5% or more. Most cryptos are down. So we'll see. I mean, it could be that they just bounced off of 50,000. I mean, technically it wasn't a bounce. They did get above 50,000, but they might essentially be bouncing off 50,000, and we might be making new lows with them. So we might be going down, hopefully not too much further down, but it would not surprise me at all to see us get below on Bitcoin 46,000. I mean, we're not that far from it. It would not have to fall very much to start making new lows and continue this little downtrend. And it would make sense, right? You know, we've run up massively. If you look at the past year, we were down at 27,000 at the start of the year. So we are looking at pretty big gains over the course of the past 365 days. And cryptos have run a lot in 2021. I could definitely see cryptos falling a little bit more. You know, maybe they won't. I hope they don't. I'm holding some. But if they did, then I'd be willing to get a little bit more. And you know what I'm excited about? Ethereum. I actually have been thinking more about Ethereum. It seems like of the cryptos, Ethereum probably is the most promised for the future. That's just my opinion. I'm still not too well versed in cryptos, right? I don't know the ins and outs of what makes them great. But I think that of all the cryptos, Ethereum probably has the best chance of sticking around, especially with all this metaverse stuff going around, with all these NFTs. I think that Ethereum's probably going to be the winner because they are the largest market cap that has real utility, at least for these transactions. I mean, Bitcoin, people seem to use as a store of value. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most people are using Bitcoin as a store of value, right? They're using it as digital gold. Potentially, there's another reason people might be buying Bitcoin, but I'm not aware of it. With Ethereum, though, I think people are buying it, one, because they think it'll go up, but two, they're buying it because Ethereum seems to have some utility and people use it in a lot of these crypto transactions. It seems to me like it's the most popular for those kind of crypto transactions that people do online. It seems to be the one that people tend to buy and sell stuff with. Maybe Bitcoin sometimes. You know, when the company says they accept cryptocurrency, they typically mean Bitcoin. But Ethereum seems to be the one that people use a lot for NFTs and whatnot. So I could see Ethereum continuing to be very useful, and because of that, the price of Ethereum may go up. I don't know why. The price needs to go up, though, for it to continue being useful, but we'll see. And Abstract says, I'm mostly into meme coins. Yeah, I think the meme coins have definitely provided the biggest gains, so I can't blame you there. You know, I've gotten in, I will say, on Doge and Shiba Inu and made money on both of them, so I've made a lot more on Doge and Shiba Inu than I have on Ethereum and Bitcoin, so I don't blame you for being in on the meme coins, right? That's typically what you're going to make the most money in as of late, right? That's what 2020, what the 2020s thus far have been characterized by. The meme stocks, they've been doing incredibly well. Obviously, over the past couple of months, they've fallen, but they were still massive gainers earlier in 2021. So the meme stocks have been doing really great. The meme coins have been doing even better. So I don't blame you at all for being in the meme cryptos. In fact, I wish that I could find the next meme crypto. I mean, maybe I'll have to start looking out for it. I'll let you guys know if I think I found it. But Slim Daddy Bim says HUD is showing strong support at $17 and $18. Breakout coming soon. I could see that. It is really showing a lot of support at $18. And I will show you guys my position on HUD right here. It's not a position where I'm holding HUD stock, but what I'm doing is selling HUD puts. So it's a bullish position. I'm betting that HUD will move up in price. And we can pull it up. Let's pull up the camera right here. So we've got these HUD $20 puts right there. So I'm selling them. I sold them for a little bit cheaper than what they're at. So far, I've lost $100 on this trade. But in 2020, as long as HUD gets above $20 and stays above $20, I stand to make about $1,500 from this trade. So it's one that I am not, the most convicted in, right? I think HUD will probably get above $20. I'm not too worried about it, but basically all it needs to do for me to make my full profit is move above 20, and it's not that far off, and stay above 20 for, basically just end the year above $20. That's all I need to make money on HUD, the full profit, the full $1,500. So, it's not my highest conviction play, but it seems like a pretty safe one. I don't think that we're going to see a big downturn in HUD past this point, right? Maybe we will, but I think we've definitely gotten a little oversold towards the end of the year. Maybe people were tax loss harvesting a little too hard on HUD stock, and that may have continued. People may have seen HUD moving down and just sold their positions in it, right? Because pretty much everyone is down at this point, right? Basically, unless you were buying below $18 for the brief couple of times that it was below 18, you're probably down on HOOD, right? So pretty much everyone is down on HOOD. Now, we might see, because people were selling HOOD, let's see, when were people selling it? Looks like if we pull up the yearly chart, a lot of people were selling HOOD around November. And in early December, a lot of people were selling HOOD. We might see 30 days after that people buying back into their HOOD positions because the wash sale rule only applies for 30 days after you sell your stock. And the wash sale rule, for those of you who don't know, when you're trying to take a tax loss on a stock, you sell the stock towards the end of the year typically. That's tax loss harvesting so that you can write off the loss against some gains. And then you have to wait 30 days to get back into that security. Otherwise, you can't write off the loss because that's just a rule the government put in place to stop people from just selling a stock one day and then buying it back the next day solely for the purpose of avoiding taxes. So 30 days after a lot of this selling, we might see a little bit of a rebound as people re-enter their HOOD positions. And you know what? They made some money on that as long as HOOD doesn't bounce up before them because they got out. And HOOD is now cheaper. They're going to take the tax loss on it, and they're buying it back cheaper. So all in all, it seems like a decent trade for anyone who did that with HOOD. Now, I'm happy doing what I've done, selling the put contracts. Those will be going up, down in value, which is good for me because I've sold them. I'll be happy to buy them back for less sometime early on in 2022. If HOOD really does make a big bounce back, if it gets back up into the $30 or $40 range, those put contracts are going to be pretty darn cheap to buy back. So I'd be happy to see it moving up sooner rather than later because then I wouldn't have to hold it for the whole year. Then I could just get out of that position that I'm in. And we've got a couple of interesting comments. So Heckler Kosh says, Corn Fed just bought 40K Sundial shares, 150 2024 call contracts. That's what she meant by corn-fed country. Interesting. What corn-fed? Let me see. Let's see. Corn-fed. I do not know what corn-fed is, I have to say. Corn-fed. I'm sorry, I don't know what corn-fed is. I just looked it up, and all I'm seeing is corn-fed, livestock. So I don't know. So let's see. James Wood says news or MJ banking news. This could, I think you're talking about MJNA, could 20 to 50x from 0.15 easily. Lots of upside. Any good news? Let's take a peek. MJNA. Okay, so it looks like it's moved down a little bit since we started looking at MJNA. I'm still waiting for the perfect entrance. It looks like it had some support at 2 cents, but it has recently fallen through. So we'll see what happens. Maybe some people are, at the end of the year, deciding to tax loss harvest this thing, sell off this sucker. I might get in on it, though. I might get in on it before 2022 starts. So in the next couple of days, I might. If we fall a little bit more, I might be getting in on MJNA because it's just so cheap. It just seems like the kind of thing that it is over the counter, but it seems like it could pump up. It really seems like it could. We saw it in the past the last time a lot of the cannabis stocks were talking about legalization. It 10x'd. I might consider getting in. I might consider getting in on MJNA pretty soon. So corn-fed country. Oh, that's me, Big Dog Sundial. I own that in Sundial. 40K shares, 150 call con. I gotcha. Okay. I gotcha, corn-fed. Okay, that's awesome though. That's awesome. I mean, if we're looking at legalization next year, you could be making a lot of money off of Sundial. I mean, I'm looking to build up my position on Sundial a little bit more. And James Wood says company says no splits. You're talking about MJNA, and Heckler Kosh has 10K at 58. Nice buy on that. So anyone in the green on Sundial has done very well because most people have been buying over the past year when Sundial was, potentially even over $1. A lot of people were buying in Sundial at. But anyone who's gotten in the past, 2 weeks when it was below 60 cents, great buy on that. Really good buy on that. And Sub-Zero, can you take a look at ATER? Any hope? I'm currently down 20K. We'll take a peek at ATER. So it's just been falling, unfortunately. ATER has just been tanking. It looks like we have found some support for it potentially. maybe around $4. We have bounced off of that in the past. We've gotten close to it again. We might have found support. So, this is going to be tough. This is another one of those short squeeze stocks that did run up quite a bit, but then we saw that bounce off of 20 and we just never quite recovered from it. So, obviously, once again, we were talking about this with PROG. If people on Reddit, on Wall Street Bets, on StockTwits renew interest in this thing for real, we could see it run. We could see it run up. It's not a guarantee, though, right? You're either, if you're in it already, you're going to have to decide if it's worth waiting for or if it's worth just selling, taking the tax loss, potentially writing off some gains that you've got. And if it's one that you care about, then potentially getting back in after it's already run up. Or after it's already ran up a little bit, I should say. Hopefully getting in before another pump. Obviously, there's always the risk that you'll get faked out because we've seen a couple fake run-ups with ATR over the past, right? You might have been buying when you saw this little run-up, and that didn't actually turn into anything. So there's always the chance. There's always the chance that you might get screwed on a stock like that when it might be a fake run-up, But let's see. Max Pierce asks, Vivi asks, which of these stocks are better, Plug or AMC? So Plug, I believe that's Plug Power. So obviously, I think these stocks are good for different reasons, right? AMC will pull it up over SPY. And then we'll look at consumer confidence. Because that just came out at 10. But these stocks are good for different reasons, right? Plug seems like a legitimate EV. I believe it's an EV charging company. I think it's a charging station company. That would make sense. Let me just make sure. So, an American company engaged in the development of hydrogen fuel cells that replace conventional batteries and equipment in vehicles powered by electricity. Wow. Okay, so not EV charging. Interesting. So, EV fuel cells. I know we've looked at Plug before. But, okay, so same kind of thing. Like David Amer says, two completely different industries. I don't think that AMC is going to be doing well movie theater-wise, right? I don't think that the movie theater fundamental part of AMC is going to start moving AMC stock up. If something were to move AMC stock up, I think it would be retail buying in big. I think they'd be pumping it up, potentially squeezing out some shorts. But we'd have to get pretty high on AMC for that to happen. We'd have to get above the previous highs because they didn't get squeezed out at 72. We're going to have to get a little bit higher than that. So I think that they're good for different reasons. Potentially, AMC could see another run-up in 2022 if we see more retail interest in it, right? It ran up. It held its levels pretty decently. It hasn't crashed yet necessarily, right? It has been doing somewhat poorly at the end of the year. Maybe some people were tax loss harvesting it, but it has come back in a decent way. And I could see us doing decently as something that's completely disconnected from the stock market. If the stock market starts faltering in 2022 because of inflation, then AMC could actually be doing decently because it is pretty much completely disconnected from the fundamentals, right? It's got nothing to do with the fundamentals. If people start pouring their money into AMC, fearing inflation, that could end up moving it up big, right? If people don't want to be in the markets because they don't trust the markets are falling, everything's too fundamentally driven, and the fundamentals stop looking good, then people might start pouring in some money into AMC. They might start trying to squeeze out some shorts. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. Plug is completely different. That seems like a very fundamental-based company. We'll pull up their website right here. Building the green hydrogen economy. Definitely seems like a company of the future if that ends up being a viable solution for zero-emission fuel. It looks like it might be. I mean, obviously, they're trying to tout it as such, but who knows for sure if that'll end up working. Obviously, Plug could come crashing down if it turns out that the hydrogen fuel isn't as viable as people are thinking right now. Then Plug could come crashing down. I hope it doesn't. It seems like a really cool technology. Who knows what kind of innovations we're going to make with batteries? If these hydrogen fuel cells might become obsolete. Who knows? Who knows? But as of right now, it definitely sounds like a cool technology, and I am all for additional technology companies, additional tech companies coming in, making the world a better place, right? AMC, right? I don't necessarily care if there's more movie theaters around, and I don't even think that AMC is looking to build more theaters necessarily. I think they might, if anything, start to transition more into online streaming something. I don't know. I think that would be really successful if they transitioned into a product or something that everyone had access to and could buy online. I think they have a lot of online support from investors. I think that would be really good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with AMC over the course of 2022. I think it could be doing decently. It's a nice hedge against potential market downturn, at least, right? Because it has a negative beta, which means it doesn't move with the markets. So if the market starts to tank, I don't mind having some AMC in my portfolio. It could be doing better than the markets. And as for Plug Power, it certainly looks interesting, though it has already, if you look, what is this? The past 2 years, it's about 10x'd over the past 2 years. So it was at 253, now it's at 2950. It's about 10x'd already. So we'll see what happens with Plug Power. I'm not too sure it's gonna be a huge one in the future. Maybe, right? All those tech companies, they run up big, and then they run up even bigger if their tech ends up being really world changing. But we'll see if those hydrogen fuel cells end up coming through. They might. And if they do, then it's definitely something that's great to be in. But we'll see. So Sundial, looks like we're hitting up 64 cents right now. Looks like we're continuing to move up. It looks like we took a little bit of a dip, hit 63 again, and now we're moving up past 64. So I am glad to see it. So I am glad to see it. It looks like what? Are we going to see this uptrend continue? From the look of the chart, it looks like this uptrend is renewing. As long as we don't see some big red bars coming in, eliminating these gains, then it looks like the uptrend is back in full swing. We'll know for sure once we break the highs of 69 cents. But my hope is that Sundial just keeps on moving up. Obviously, at some point, everything needs to take a breather. Sundial especially, right? A lot of people were probably getting in at these cheaper prices, around 53 cents or so. Some people probably wanted to take profits, though I think there are going to be much bigger profits if you end up taking them in 2022. But that's just my opinion. I'm not recommending anyone do anything. And AutoCode says, Rob, I have 6,400 Sundial shares at 67 cents. Will I be okay? Well, we're almost back up to 67 cents. We're getting close. I mean, it's no guarantee that we're going to get back up there. Obviously, at any point, we could get wiped out. Some more big red bars could come through. And I will point out the Sundial short interest has gone down significantly since we last looked. So that might be an indication that some of these shorts are starting to get out before 2022. They might not want to be in Sundial for much longer. And we'll take a peek at it right here, but you can see we're down to 290 million shares short, and that is something, because just a bit ago, we were at 340 million shares short, so about 50 million shorts have covered their positions. They probably scared out a lot of longs to get in on it, but a lot of shorts, some shorts have been covering, so we're down to 14% of the free float being short. Obviously, we've still got a whole lot of shorts in there, but we have taken a bit of a tumble short interest-wise. If you look at this red line, it has moved down significantly over the past couple of days. So shorts are getting out of Sundial. I think shorts are a little bit worried about the potential that Sundial has in 2022. So we'll see. We'll see. I think you'll be okay, but that's just my thought, right? It's not a guarantee. We don't know for sure. If you're not okay, though, at 67 cents, a lot of people are going to be down on a lot more money than you. A lot of people are in Sundial over $1. A lot are in it over 70 cents. So 67 cents, all things considered, is a pretty good buy, right? There's been relatively few times that this thing has been below 70 cents, mostly over the past 30 days or so, has it been below 70 cents. But really, it's not been that long, right, that we've been below 70. If you look at the past year, we've only really recently been hitting up this below 70 cent level. For the most part, Sundial has been above 70 cents, but over the past couple of months, we've dipped below it from time to time, and we have moved up every now and then. But under 70 cents is pretty darn cheap on Sundial. That's my thought, at least. I think Sundial, we're going to be doing pretty darn good come 2022. We're looking at a lot of different legalization catalysts. I think we're all, anyone in Sundial, I think, personally, is going to be making money. Not financially, not financial advice, but that's just my opinion on Sundial. I think we're looking at some pretty good stuff. Now, the overall market, I will say, it looks like we're taking a little bit of a dip on the SPY. We're starting to move down. We're down to 477. So we are dipping a little bit on the market. And, the market, who's to say, this is probably nothing. But, oh, that's right. You know what? Consumer confidence. When did this start? It started around 10. So let's take a look at consumer confidence and see what we've got. So So where is this? December 28th. It looks like they're a little bit late on those consumer confidence numbers because we've got it right here. And we're still waiting for the actual numbers. Previously, we had 109.5. So what? This is supposed to be out of 10. Let's see if we can pull it up another way. Let's see. So this was supposed to happen. Let's filter this down to just the United States. And let's see if we can't find that consumer confidence number. So, yeah, it's still not out yet. It's still not out. But from the look of it, we have a previous consumer confidence of 109.5. So, that's interesting. Maybe they adjusted it. Well, we're still waiting on it. It was supposed to come out 11 minutes ago, so hopefully it gets out before the end of the stream. We'll see, though. And Max Pierce asks, Rob, could you take a look at MSSV again? Yeah, we can take a peek at MSSV. So, Mesonumismatic Inc. All right, so this is an OTC stock. It trades at 28 cents per share. It's just recently run up from about 13, so it's pretty much doubled just recently. MSSV. Let's see what this is all about. So, they've got one employee as of 2020, and that's just what it says on Google. Founded in 1999. Not a good sign that their site can't be reached. All right. Let's see. I mean, here, I'll pull this up, but you see MSSV stock, Mesonumismatic, they have one employee as of 2020. Unfortunately, you try to go to their site, and it cannot be reached. So I don't know what that means for their site. I don't know if that's just a temporary glitch that they're having. But let's pull up their Yahoo Finance page to see if they've got anything. So $3.6 million market cap. All right. Very cheap. And Mesonumismatic closes global stem cell group acquisition. All right. So 4 months ago that happened. But I'm not really sure what they got going for them recently. Let's see if anything popped up. So the last thing that was really notable, at least, that we're finding, let's see if we can't see, if we narrow this search down for the past week, if there's anything. I mean, it's such a low market cap, I don't think anyone's really talking about them. So I'm not sure what we've got going lately, what's pumped them up. It might just be, I mean, you know, it might just be volume, right? Because this thing is such a low market cap. You know, any millionaire could come in and pump this stock up with $100,000 or $200,000. You know, anyone could come in and pump this thing up. So, you know, it might not actually be big news that this thing's moving up on. And wow, just over the past day, they've doubled. So over the past 24 hours, they've doubled. So who knows why that is? It might just be big volume coming in. It's a scary one. One employee site is down. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trusting it the most. It seems like it could potentially be some kind of pump and dump scheme, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, you know, the pump and dumps, they do provide an opportunity to potentially make some money, right? If you bought this thing at 20 cents, you could sell it now at 28. So that's interesting. I don't know what they're up to. I don't know what they do as a company, but very low market cap, very risky. I'm going to stay away from it. But that's interesting to see. James Wood says, MJNA with no real solid news, price could get a lot lower since near 1 penny is possible. Or if more fear comes, could drop below a penny, says James Wood. Yeah, I mean, MJNA, it could happen. And under a penny, I think I'd have to grab some under a penny. That would just be too cheap on MJNA. You know, it hasn't been there in the past year. And I think that we would definitely see some kind of pump coming with legalization for MJNA, right? For all the cannabis stocks, we're going to see some kind of pump. Pretty much all the cannabis stocks, at least. But with MJNA, I could definitely see us moving up. We have in the past, right? We about 10x'd in the past. So I could see us moving up quite a bit on MJNA if we saw legalization. So under a penny, I'd have to grab some. I mean, you know, the downside with MJNA is when you try to buy it, since it's an over-the-counter, you do have to pay. And, you know, I've pretty much forgotten the word. Well, what was that word for what we used to pay commissions? Back when people used to pay those. Soon nobody's even going to know what commissions are. Thank you, Robinhood. But you still have to pay commissions when you're buying MJNA, unfortunately. So that's the downside. It's about $6.95, I think, if you're using TD Ameritrade, which is what I'm using. So we'll see. The very first MJ company, says James Wood. That's right. They have a lot of firsts under their belt. I don't know why they haven't done better. I mean, if they're the first, you'd think that they'd have taken up some of the market, but maybe they just don't have the best management. Maybe they have someone who was able to jump on it quick, but not really take it to the next level. That might be the case, right? If they were the first, especially the first publicly listed one, you think a lot of money would have flown into them. But and James Wood says volume goes crazy on any pump for MJNA. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if you look back at the past, we can look back at the past. Let's look back at the past max. You can definitely see MJNA over the past couple of decades, or the past decade or so, actually, has definitely seen some crazy pumps. It's definitely gotten pretty darn high in the past, typically for very brief periods of time, right? There's a lot of these green wicks that take it up really high before it comes crashing down to the price it was previously at. But I have to say, 2 cents looks like a pretty good level for it. I mean, it's pretty darn close to its all-time lows. Pretty darn close to its all. This bar is really messing with us. This one that shows it getting down to 0.0001 cent. I mean, who knows what the heck happened there? If some big seller just stepped in and drove the price down to pretty much nothing, but it didn't stay there for very long. So AutoCode says, I don't think AMC and GME has any huge profit potential. Once people realize that, their money will come to Sundial and then boom. So, yeah, I agree. I don't think that either GameStop or AMC are going to turn a big profit company-wise. I don't think the companies are going to start raking in earnings and start producing a ton of money for the shareholders and paying out big dividends. Sundial, on the other hand, definitely could. They've got a lot of cash on the balance sheet as it is. I think that they have to do a little bit more share buybacks first, right? Reduce the float a little bit. I think that would be one of the better moves for Sundial. But I think that, once we see legalization and the expansion of Sundial into the United States, we could definitely see some pretty big profits from a company perspective moving Sundial up stock price-wise. But GameStop and AMC, I do think that there are a lot of followers for those stocks. I think a lot of people are very loyal, especially to AMC, more so than GameStop, really. I think a lot of people are loyal to AMC. So we really could see the stock price move up. We could see profits in the stock price if more people just continually keep putting their money in and essentially use it as a bank account. If they just get their paycheck, put a little bit into AMC every time, knowing eventually that there are shorts in this that are, if they keep driving the price up, that are going to have to cover. Now, what this relies on, of course, is AMC not doing stock offerings. We don't want AMC offering stock up and essentially selling shares to raise capital for a potentially faulty business model that might not be making too much money, because theaters probably are a thing of the past. I think they'll probably be something that people use from time to time. I don't see them being hugely popular in the future, especially with the metaverse, when you could put on your headset and you could basically be sitting in a theater with a bunch of people. I just don't know about theaters. If people are going to want to go out there, potentially get sick. Sometimes, the theater might not be to your liking, right? If it's too hot, too cold, the snacks are all very overpriced. I think theaters probably have a limited lifespan, at least for the mainstream. There will always be theaters that people can go to as a novelty. But the underlying business for AMC and GameStop, I don't believe in too much. Unless they move into more online stuff, which they really need to start doing sooner rather than later, I think, if they want to be successful fundamentally. The underlying business, it's not doing too well. But I think that because people have turned these into more movement-based stocks, less fundamentally driven than pretty much anything else out there. I mean, talk about something that's not fundamentally driven. Look at AMC. Nothing about this is fundamentally driven. So I think that we could see probably another gain in AMC as long as people continue believing in it and keep pumping money into it. Especially if we can regain some of our previous levels. If we can get back to around $40, then that's going to show real strength, that when AMC sees a dip, it doesn't matter that much, and people are willing to buy the dip up. We're in a pretty critical time right now, right? AMC could turn around. It could start dipping more. I think that would really discourage a lot of people. If we moved below $20, I think a lot of people would be very discouraged with AMC. Especially if they saw it get back down to the $10 level, I think a lot of people at least would probably give up on it, but we haven't seen that happen yet. We saw strong support at $20. We bounced off it quite fiercely. We could get back up above 30 pretty soon, and if we get back to 40, then I think people are going to have a renewed vigor in it, and we could definitely see a big rise in 2022 as more people pour more money into it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. And Vivi asks, okay, and Cornfed Country says AMC will have a movie theater in the metaverse. You can pay crypto to see the movie. Okay, yeah, they might do that. Now the only thing is, why doesn't Disney just make a movie theater, right? I mean, AMC at that point wouldn't have anything to offer, right? They're not making movies themselves. They just have to hope that movie theater or that companies, that make movies are willing to just give them a cut of whatever profit there is to go see a movie. I mean, it's easy enough to code a digital movie theater. You could probably pay someone, $1,000 to code a digital movie theater for you that you can walk around in the metaverse. So maybe that's what they'll pay AMC $1,000 to do. But AMC doesn't have any movies, right? They don't make their own movies. So, what are they going to show at their movie theater? Other people's movies? Well, why are other people going to give them movies to show? Maybe they could work something out, but they're probably going to need a better management team if that's going to be the case. If they're really going to see, some big gains from fundamental reasons, if they're going to see some big improvements to their business, they're probably going to need some better managers coming in, because they've had about a year, not really a year, maybe half a year of this meme stock thing going on for them. They have raised a lot of capital, I'll say, but they could definitely be doing better from a fundamental perspective, right? They could have a little bit more vision, a little bit more creativity, some more imagination, and I think that would really have helped them along if they had shown that at their earnings calls, instead of just losing money at their earnings calls. If they'd lost money and said, and here's what we're doing, here's what we're working on, here's what's going to make AMC the next best thing in 2022, once we finish our projects, I think they would have potentially continued rising past $40 on hope that they would be using the capital that they acquired from selling stock way back when to actually improve the underlying business model instead of just continuing with the movie theater thing, right? I think it's a riskier move because obviously they've got the movie theater thing. It was doing okay before the pandemic, and they're just hoping that things get back to normal. They're hoping that people just start coming to the theater again. And I will say that it is working somewhat, right? Spider-Man No Way Home came out, and that was the second highest grossing movie for AMC ever, I believe, on opening night, just behind Avengers Endgame. So there is the potential that, their business model will be coming back as long as Omicron doesn't really wear it down and get people scared again and staying inside. They could be doing well, but that's what we're going to need if AMC is going to do decently fundamentally. And even then, it's not going to keep them going over the next 20 years, right? They could get back to normal for a couple more years before there are some way better alternatives than going to the movie theater. I think, at least. So we'll see what happens with AMC. Really, if they do change their underlying business model a lot, significantly, I could see them doing really well, especially if they have a little bit more creativity and vision. I think that's all they really need to really get this thing pumping up much more than it has. I think people would not be as afraid of it, because a lot of people are afraid of AMC. They see it only as a meme stock. And if they could be seen as not just a meme stock, but also, people see it as a short squeeze. But if people could also see it as a potential company of the future, if they were really working on something innovative, then I think a lot more people would be more willing to invest in them, and that would drive their price up. So we'll see what they do. Let's see. So Lewis says, my average on Sundial is 99 cents, 24K shares. I'm looking forward to 2022. Me too. I mean, we're already seeing the beginnings of a rally over the past little bit. We bounced off of 53 twice. Now we're moving up. I'm really looking forward to 2022 for these cannabis stocks. And it's not necessarily just going to be a straight line up, right? We're not necessarily just going to continue trending up throughout all of 22. There will be ups and downs, most likely. I mean, it would be awesome if we just kept moving up at this pace. I wouldn't mind that at all. I'd take that. But we're probably going to see some ups and downs. There's probably going to be some bickering in the House and the Senate at the president's desk in the Oval Office. We're going to see some bickering probably. Potentially some things being held, hostage essentially in order for the bill to get through. We're probably going to see some stipulations being demanded. But who knows, right? There will be some ups and downs with Sundial, but I think overall the trend will be to the upwards direction. I think we've seen the lows at this point. I'd be shocked if we got down to 53 cents again. I think that was way too cheap. So hopefully we'll be moving up with Sundial. And Penny Smith 2012, thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you for the super chat, man. Hope you had a great Christmas. I definitely did. I definitely had a great Christmas. It was nice having a little bit of a break. I will say I missed doing the stream. I find this very fun. It's very nice hanging out, learning the markets with you guys, right? We're hearing about this news on these live streams at the same point. If any important news comes out, I've always got CNBC pulled up just in case there's a headline. Sometimes I'll show you. Sometimes they've got a little red bar at the top that says breaking, and then there's something important. So I've always got it pulled up in a tab somewhere. So I love being here for the streams. Love hanging out with you guys. Thank you very much, Penny Smith. I appreciate it. And Lewis says, long in the shorts is what they called me in high school. So yeah, I mean, that's good. That's good. We'll see. We'll see how Sundial does, though. Over 2022, I think it's going to be a great year for Sundial. And, we've only got 4 minutes left in the stream. So I've only done this once so far. I've only begged for likes once, but we've got 69 likes on the stream. I almost hate to do it. But we do have about 90 viewers in the stream. We've got 69 likes. Maybe we could get it a little bit closer. We could potentially get it up to potentially 80 likes. If we got 11 more likes, we could do it. It's just nice. It helps the algorithm out, right? The algorithm sees, oh, the video was liked by the viewers. Let's recommend it to more people. Something like that. I don't know exactly how much it helps, but James Wood says MJNA is setting up to be an awesome play. Most people know to sell 100% of MJNA position when volume comes in on the news. The OTC is a dangerous place to hang on too long. Yeah. Oh, it is. For sure. MJNA, I mean, it did just get pretty darn cheap. MJNA, right there, MJNA. It did just get pretty darn cheap. It's now below 2 cents per share. So it's getting pretty affordable. If I saw it dip a little bit more, I'd have to buy some up. So I may end up buying some MJNA soon because it is below 2 cents, which has historically been a pretty solid. We can extend this line to the left, and we'll see over the max, over all time, 2 cents has held pretty well for MJNA. So really, we could be looking at a profit on it if we did enter around here. I'm considering it. In Sub-Zero, we are doing pretty darn good on the likes. We got 83 likes, so there's actually more likes. Now it's 84. So we actually have more than we have viewers. So good stuff. I'm happy to see it. But 10:28, we're just about done. Overall, let me just give a quick recap. And let's see if the consumer confidence numbers came in, because that was supposed to happen at 10. And they're keeping it from us. They don't want to give it to us. Maybe it wasn't too good. Potentially, the consumer confidence was really bad because they were supposed to give it to us December 28th at 10, and there are no actual numbers here. So I don't know why they're hiding it from us, but they do not want us to know what the consumer confidence is. So who knows? Who knows why they're hiding it? Maybe it was really that horrible. I don't think it was that horrible, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with consumer confidence later. Tomorrow we'll look at it. Surely it'll be out by tomorrow. And tomorrow, I'll say, what we have going on is we have pending home sales and crude oil inventory. So that's what we'll look at tomorrow. Abstract asks, how's Lucid doing? We'll peek at that real quick. Lucid it's down 1.5% from yesterday's close to $38. So not doing horribly, but not doing great either, right? We're not making new lows on this downtrend that we've been on, although we have stagnated recently. But overall, Lucid it looks like it's just consolidating right below 40. So this could be the new range. It could be between maybe 30 and 40, maybe 34 and 40. It's the new range for Lucid for a little bit. That's what they tend to do. They tend to run up and then move down and consolidate in a range for a period of time. So we'll see if that's the case with Lucid this time. But there we go. That's the stream right there. So it's 10:30. We're ending it. Thank you guys for joining. It was good. It's good to be back. So, I definitely missed being on stream with you guys over break, over Christmas, but it was nice to spend some time with the family too. So It's looking like, what, Friday is another vacation day. That's another day that the markets are closed, so we won't be here Friday, but we'll be here Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. We'll be here. We were here today. We'll be here Wednesday. We'll be here Thursday. So other than that, guys, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Merry Christmas. Hopefully Christmas was good. Happy New Year. I'm sure I'll say that more on Thursday because that'll be the last streaming day before the new year. But have a good one, guys. I mean, it's looking like overall markets are doing decently. All-time highs in the S&P. Sundial looks like continuing its uptrend. Lucid's doing good. I don't know why we're looking at Lucid, but Lucid's doing okay. It's consolidating. Everything seems to be turning up Millhouse except for crypto. Crypto's moving down a little bit. But other than that, guys, have a good one. I'll see you next time. See you tomorrow at 9 sharp. Bye.